Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar with k-ecommerce. Today, we're talking about the true cost of standing still in e-commerce specifically, but really technology as a whole, and why legacy business-to-business platforms can hold back performance and many other things. So today's business-to-business landscape is changing fast. Outdated systems don't just slow you down, they can actually damage your reputation and make it harder to keep your customers. Because modern buyers or your customers expect a smooth digital first experience. And businesses that don't really adapt to this risk losing ground in the competition of the customer base. So we'll look at what today's buyers really want, how legacy platforms can create hidden costs, and why choosing the right e-commerce partner is crucial in this endeavor. The goal isn't just to upgrade your technology, it's to really future-proof your business, to boost customer loyalty and satisfaction, and essentially to create new growth opportunities among your space. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Fuzzarini. And I'm a solution consultant at k-ecommerce. I've been in this space for just about 7 or 8 years now, and I've had the opportunity to see many businesses go through changes, particularly overcome tech debt, as we're going to see in the next slides. So it's my pleasure to be talking about this subject here today. Now, standing still in B2B e-commerce is no longer really safe. It's costly. Right? There was a time where we would deploy our own environments, host things ourselves, and that way is no longer the case. We need to be more flexible in terms of technology in general, in our case, business-to-business e-commerce. Buyers are moving faster. They're shifting to digital-first experiences, and they're expecting self-service at every stage of their purchasing journey. Companies that delay in modernizing risk to have higher churn, stalled deals, and ultimately missed business opportunities because the expectation is different from what is being offered. Right? With the advancements of AI and large language models, tech spaces of all sorts are growing at an incredible rate. More can get done now than arguably ever before. And that means that the gap between what your business can do and what buyers are expecting is growing faster and faster. So if you're relying on older systems, you're not just falling behind, you're actually accumulating tech debt that quickly can erode your performance of your business and can get harder and harder to catch up to as time goes on. For example, specific to e-commerce, if you have a site that isn't mobile friendly or mobile first, you're missing out on buyers who want to place orders on the go. If your processes aren't automated, well, deals can stall, opportunities can slip away. And every year that you wait to modernize your tech stack, the cost of catching up grows exponentially. Right? The hidden cost of standing still isn't just lost sales, it's that compounding effect of outdated technology. So to stay competitive, businesses need to embrace change and invest in solutions that keep pace with buyer expectations and technological progress. So today, as I said, we're going to be talking about the hidden cost of delay and how your business can be secretly racking up tech debt that you don't even realize. And we'll talk about some of the signs to spot and how to potentially avoid them, specifically, of course, business-to-business e-commerce. So let's talk about the hidden costs that businesses face when relying on outdated e-commerce tech. Right? Tech debt isn't always obvious at first, as I was saying, but it can build up quietly over time and then affects overall performance and ultimately client satisfaction. For example, if your business isn't accessible on a smartphone, as I said, you're missing out on buyers on the go. That's a lost sale. It happens more than you think it would in today's day and age, despite many people thinking that business-to-business buying doesn't really happen on the smartphone. Buyers are changing. Other things like inaccurate inventory data is another silent killer, right? If your ERP isn't updating your e-commerce platform in real time, then customers may order something that's out of stock And then you're going to have a frustrated client because you can't deliver. You're going to have lost business. You're going to have accounting concerns to deal with and all the rest. Right? Pricing errors are another real source of tech debt that we see all the time. When your website shows outdated prices, you're forced to backtrack after the sale. As I was just saying, you might have to issue corrections, risk damaging your reputation. So having up-to-date and accurate information is crucial in today's day and age. And all of this comes down to how important visibility might be. Right? When customers can easily track orders and invoices, they feel confident in your business. Modern platforms allow the customers to have that type of transparency, while outdated systems might rely on more traditional means like calling people over the phone, which is an added hurdle that these days nobody wants. Bottom line is that the longer you wait to modernize, the more of these hidden costs can pile up. Now, there's a major disconnect between how older B2B e-commerce platforms operate and what today's buyers expect. Right? We've heard this story before. Modern buyers want speed, convenience, and they want transparency. But often, older systems might fall short of this. In fact, as you can see on the screen here, 81% of buyers are dissatisfied with their current B2B e-commerce provider. And that's a clear sign that older technology is not keeping up with today's demands. Outdated platforms mean slow websites, clunky navigation, a limited form of self-service. Every extra step or manual process that needs to be done doesn't just frustrate your buyers, it can quickly accumulate in debt that proves itself through lost sales and all sorts of other forms. So buyers who can't really get what they need right away will move on potentially to competitors. They'll move on to competitors that have more modern solutions, or they'll find a number of ways around this. So the impact isn't necessarily obvious at first. You'll probably be able to manage it, but over time, it erodes trust, it erodes profitability, and makes it harder in the long run. So upgrading, generally speaking, your e-commerce platform isn't just about the new features that you might be receiving. It's about closing the gap between buyer expectations and business performance, turning that dissatisfaction into loyalty and growth, right? Because even if they're not necessarily features that you might say, I absolutely need, your buyers will know that the platform is more of a modern one that stays up to date with the times. And that creates a level of trust that might be unknown or unrealized along the way. So it's not, as I said, just about the features themselves that will be used, but it's about showing the image that you're with the times. Now, the debt isn't so obvious at first, right? Hopefully, most of you here aren't in any sort of place that requires lots of tech debt yet, but we see it all the time. Over the years, there are certain patterns that emerge, and they all point really to one thing. When businesses stick with outdated technology, they get this accumulated tech debt, and it can erode performance. And normally, they'll let it pile up constantly and hit a turning or a situation where they either say, I'm going to stick to the really old ways of doing things until it completely becomes obsolete, or I'm going to try and advance. Now, more likely than not, the successful businesses are the ones that make that change and decide, you know what, we're going to modernize immediately and get things going. So it's not just about losing sales. If this piles up enough, it can cause serious damage to the business as a whole. Again, as I mentioned, if your inventory isn't updating from your ERP, for example, sales can slip through the cracks. I've seen cases where customers place an order for an out-of-stock item. It wasn't properly listed on their website, and then they're disappointed. They need to be called over the phone by somebody and be told that whatever they ordered can no longer be sent to them. This is dissatisfaction. This is a large level of accountability that causes customers to leave. Now, speaking of data itself, as I said already, when prices change, the website can't afford to be out of date. If customers see old pricing and you're forced to backtrack on a sale or call them up, you'll have to issue refunds, you'll have to speak to accounting and the finance department to make sure everything is properly regulated. It just causes added levels of risk and work that shouldn't be there. As I said already, too, visibility of order information is another area where tech debt creeps in. When people can't track their orders, especially when they're on the go these days, they're less likely to return. If they can track their order information with a few clicks on their phone, well, all of a sudden they have a new level of engagement with you that they didn't have before, allowing them to, or promoting them to stay within the ecosystem. So to give you an example of this, at k-ecommerce, we have released maybe a year ago a new front-end system that we're calling Core 2. And this really ensures that your website looks modern and meets today's expectations so that customers, as I said before, feel a level of security when doing business with you. There's something innate about it that we can recognize right away if it's more modern or less modern. And when it comes to knowing if your e-commerce platform is delivering the returns that you expect, reporting is a robust component of that. So point number 4 on the slide. With most data integrated from something like the ERP, you can pull powerful reports right from your existing systems, which is crucial to knowing how well you're doing. And then if you add on to this web-specific analytics and data, along with things like Google Tag Manager, you have a recipe for accurate, actionable insights into how your website is doing, the level of engagement, and overall customer satisfaction. Bottom line, every time you delay modernizing your system, you're adding to your tech debt. It may not be obvious at first, but over time, as I said, it slowly frustrates your customers and costs you real money. So it's important to assess this, if not necessarily actioning on it. It's important to assess this and have that conversation internally so that you know if it is time to modernize or to stick with your existing setup. Next, we're going to talk about what your buyers want and what they don't. Over the last decade, the explosion of consumer e-commerce has completely changed the game for B2B buyers. Think about it. We're all used to shopping online for things like Black Friday, Christmas, summer sales, you name it. That experience, which is fast, easy, and personalized for the consumer, has become the standard. Now, when those same individuals shop for their businesses, they expect that same level of convenience. But the catch is this. Business buying isn't the same as personal shopping, right? Just because buyers expect a similar experience, it does not mean that they should expect the same tools at their disposal in order to place those orders. So let me give you an example, right? A few years ago, I was shopping online during Black Friday on Banana Republic's sale for clothing. I had about 10 items in my cart. For me, that felt like a really big order. I very rarely buy such a large number of items online. So for me, 10 items was a large order. But in the business-to-business world, 10 items is just a starting point for most businesses. For many customers, or businesses, I should say, there are easily 50 line items in a shopping cart on average, right? Now imagine trying to add 50 items for my business purchasing, one by one, searching for each of those products individually, the same way that I might have done on Banana Republic's website. Might take a long time. As a business buyer, I want to get in and out quickly. I know the items that I'm looking to purchase. I might even know the item codes. I should be able to maybe import a list, scan a barcode, or just bulk add those items in one shot. The fewer clicks, the better. Right? So though the experience might be modern, like we expect, the tools available have to adhere to B2B standards and B2B needs. And this is where, as I said, old technology really does create tech debt. If your platform can't keep up with these expectations, then you're inconveniencing your buyers. You're falling behind. Every extra step, every outdated process, it all adds up. And it keeps your team, or it causes, I should say, your team to slow down, frustrate customers, and costs business. The days of having to call a sales rep just to place an order or to get an update are long gone. Today's buyers want self-service, speed, and accuracy. So your technology needs to deliver that. So let's talk about the role of sales reps, especially involved in the more modern business-to-business world that I keep painting. Why keeping up with technology is important for this? Well, buyers are more independent than ever, as we just established. They want the freedom to browse, compare, and buy on their own terms. They don't want to have to call a salesperson every time. They need freedom. They need the ability to be less reliant on a salesperson. And modern platforms make this possible, right? They have the tools at their disposal to order themselves. But here's the catch. When businesses cling to old technology, they create barriers for frustrated buyers and, as I said, tech debt. Outdated systems really force one to jump through hoops for basic information or support. Instead of empowering self-service, older platforms slow things down and make simple tasks more complicated. And that's when buyers have to reach out. But now their questions are sharper, more specific, and genuinely important. So they're asking, instead of asking things like, how do I place my order? They're asking things like, which product is best for my unique use case? Or can I verify if this part fits our existing system? You know me well enough to know that. There are questions that require expertise, not just a simple yes or no script. And this is where salespeople can truly help customers instead of for the mundane basic tasks. I've seen it firsthand. A customer might spend hours trying to navigate an older platform only to hit a wall and need real guidance. So when self-service falls short, it's important to have those salespeople not as gatekeepers, but as consultants and problem solvers. Buyers should be able to find specifications, compare prices, track their orders, do all of that fun work at any point in the day, not just opening hours when they can speak to somebody. And it's the salespeople who can bridge the gap to provide more tailored recommendations and important human conversations alongside what the technology can offer. So with that said, the key takeaway is essentially this. Companies without strong digital commerce strategies and a platform that can support it risk losing even their largest deals. Now, to wrap today's session up, we'll talk about how you can future-proof your business with the right B2B solution. And of course, enter k-ecommerce, which is one of the options in terms of staying modern with the times. Ultimately, your business needs a solution that works with your e-commerce process, not against it. A system that connects to the single source of truth, which would be your ERP, that uses and leverages all of that data to provide an experience that is tailored to the customer, to each of your B2B customers. And moreover, as I said before, that provides specific B2B tools that enables them to do what they need to do quickly and efficiently. We know business-to-business e-commerce. We've been in this space for over 25 years now. So there are a lot of tools and features within our platform that speak specifically to those types of buyers and experiences. With the integrations leveraged for Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics, as well as Acumatica, the solution really does have the ability to scale and to grow your business. And we've been blessed to see many of our customers undergo that type of growth. Now, if you are looking to improve this strategy and make sure you're not in tech debt, feel free to reach out to us and call. We'll be happy to have a conversation. We spend a lot of time just getting to know your business and seeing where the value add can be. Key features like the updates that we make constantly. As I mentioned, the Core 2 front end is a big addition that proves or shows that we're looking to eliminate tech debt as best we can. So with all of that said, I'd like to take the time to thank everybody here today for joining us. I see that there aren't any questions on the board, so with that said, we'll look to end today's session. Thank you very much, and have a great day.